know who's Ahmadinejad. So, and I haven't forgot the pain from Paris from the 9th of January. I haven't forgot the pressure which is happening now in Syria against the Kurdish people. Nevertheless, I think it's now our turn as Kurds to take our destiny. We have experiences, the past experiences of revolting. We have the experiences to know our enemies. And therefore I think there's enough space to say we have to create our future by using our self-confidence. During the last time, particularly after the declaration of Öcalan's manifestation since Newroz, there are a lot of questions asking, does the Kurds give up their hopes for a free Kurdistan? Or how can we trust Erdogan? Is mainly a question which is asked by Kurdish women, youth, intellectuals, artists. Everyone is now talking and asking, can we trust the AKP government? I would say no. But I would say clearly, well, I'm trusting my own power. I'm trusting the power of the Kurdish people. I know the Kurds have enough acknowledgement. I know the Kurds are aware people. They're well organized, they're political aware people. So therefore, this is important to us. I'm not asking the Turkish government or the Iranian government or the Syrian government to offer us anything. And when I was last week at the meeting in Cologne, I was invited by the Kurdish Women's Peace Council in the German city of Cologne, and they asked the same. Said, sister, can we trust the AKP government? And I gave them an example. I said, listen, ladies, all you are married to some Kurdish husbands, and traditionally and culturally, these husbands are got the right to dominate you. You have to serve to him. You have to serve him. This is your role according to the Kurdish traditions. If you start to change yourself as wife, then the husband has to change. The same has happened to us as Kurds. If we are not willed to serve the Turkish government, then the Turkish government has to change. I think this is a dialectic between oppressed and oppressors. If the oppressed change themselves and say we are the alternative, we are able to create our own alternative, then the oppressors has to change. And I think after 30 years revolt against the Turkish government, we achieved to create our own alternative, not to depend on Ankara. We got our 100 municipalities in Turkey. We learned for self-governing our area. We created our solution. We are now ready to name the solution. I think what we have to be careful in the case of solution of the Kurdish question, because even today in the audience some ask, are we on the way to give up from our dream of a free Kurdistan? I'm not in this view, because it depends to us if we are going to repeat the failure of Lausanne or to make the better one. Lausanne was created by the European states. We were victims. We became victims of the Treaty of Lausanne from 1923. Not just we. Even 120 million of Arabs were divided in 22 states. All the states built up in the Middle East, especially the four countries like Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria. But despite them, 22 Arabic states, nation states, all became oppressors of their own people. And after 80 years of Lausanne Treaty, people are demanding for democracy. This is a very important opportunity for all of us, those who say we are oppressed people. And now it's our turn as Kurds, because we were those who became the most affected victims of Lausanne Treaty. So they split it up amongst the four countries, Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria. They created the Kurdish card, the so-called Kurdish questions. Now it's our turn to bring those together who split us up. Now it's our turn to bring Turks, Arabs, Persians to our boat. We were the victims of division. We are now the key players to create the unity amongst the people in the Middle East. And I think this is the only guarantee for lasting peace in the Middle East. And therefore, I think we as Kurds, we are the key role players. And I would, as a woman in particular, I would say I'm rejecting all kinds of the ideas of nation states which are based on one language, one nation, one ethnic identity. Because the truth of Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria is a multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-religious area. So we have to as Kurds, we have to try to bring them together. We can change the policy which made us the victims, change it to policy for lasting peace. Therefore, I think we are on the right way to look firstly how to democratize Turkey. This is the first step. Nursel, I don't mention the first 3 stages, but the success of all the stages, of course, need firstly the active, well-organized involvement of the Kurds. Secondly, it needs the active, willed involvement of Turks. And I can say that 80 million citizens of the Turkish Republic are talking since Nowruz about the Kurdish question. I would say this is a success of Öcalan, because it never happened in the history of Turkey that people are talking about the political issue. From the young to the old people, all Turkey is speaking about the Kurdish problem. This is the first step, democratization of Turkey, that ordinary people get access to policy. Now it's a turn to try locally to find networks to bring the people together to collect their opinion about the democratic constitution of Turkey. Therefore, I say I'm following the policy suggestion of Öcalan. He said once, in case of changing of states, it's necessary to follow up the policy state plus democracy. There's one side you have to negotiate with the state to convince the state it can't go anymore ahead by putting pressure on other. But foremost, it's more important how the civil society will be involved in the process. For me and from the Kurdistan National Congress, it's more important to get different political civil society organizations together. What is their dream of a democratic constitution in Turkey, Iran, Syria, or Iraq is a different manner. But it's important to bring the people. And I would say the same process we need to start in Europe. Because in the end, the Kurdish question is not just a question of Middle East. By saying it's a question of Europe. Because it was created by the European states like France and Britain in the past. And since then, we have trouble here in Europe. In particular, if they are putting Kurdish political parties in the list of terrorist organizations, this is a political act. So it has to be changed now. So therefore, I think what we should do in Europe or in Norway is to create networks, to convince the European states to change their ideology of Lausanne, to give up the ideas of policy of divide and rule. And this is our job from all those who are organized in civil society. I think what the Nansen Center for Peace and Dialogue, the Norwegian Peace Association, or the Norwegian Peace Council can do as a contribution to the peace process is to convince the European Union, each member state of the European Union, for example, to lift the ban on the PKK. It's important now. Because Turkey is not talking to the PKK. They are accepting Öcalan as one of the partners. So, and European can't stay behind Turkey now. So I think, and secondly, I think, however, the Kurdish question is locally based in Middle East. In the end, it's a global problem. If we can achieve success in the current started process, I think this will be a great contribution to the peace in Middle East at all. And peace in Middle East can be a contribution to a global peace. Therefore, I'm seeing the Kurdish problem as not just as a problem of the Kurds. I would say it's a global problem of all of us. Because it's a problem how to create democracy and peace. Therefore, I would say now we have the Kurdish card in our hand. Before it was in the hand of the dominated states, particularly the member states of the European Union. And since Nowruz, I understand that Öcalan got the card in his hand, and this is the opportunity. What is to do with the Kurdish card? What should the Kurds do with this Kurdish card? Should they use the Kurdish card to say, well, now it's time for revanche, to have our own nation state, or should we say, really, we will fight for the lasting peace, and we are not going to repeat those who created our question, who created the Kurdish tragedy and the dilemma. So therefore, I think we have taken a very historical response, and in these, I think we as Kurds, with our experiences of the uprising of Simkoshkaki, Mullah Mustafa Barzani, Sayyid Reza, Sheikh Said, all those hundreds of uprisings, the experiences of these uprisings are strengthening us. We have to learn from their failure. I think our capital is our experiences, historical experiences, and I think we will achieve our goal by convincing the civil society in Europe. And I've seen that hundreds of groups in Europe organized in form of NGOs. They got awareness. They are against the war in Syria, in Iran, and of course there's awareness in case of the Kurds. And I think we should try to bring to come together. For that reason, the Kurdistan National Congress is going to organize 4 conferences. The one will be held in Europe, most probably in Belgium. We want to invite all political groups, Kurdish and Turkish, Armenian, Assyrians, Arabs, to talk about our project, our democratic project of Middle East. How can we live together in Syria? How can be our future together in Iran? And another conference will be held in Hevelish, with the main focus creating national unity amongst the Kurdish political parties as well as the civil society. Another conference will be held by BDP in Ankara. We will support this conference, particularly to bring Turkish left groups, political parties together, to talk about alternative constitution. And another one will be held in Ahmet. So this will be, by this we want to give the opportunity to all those who are looking for access to the policymaker. Like Gunnar said, I agree in this case. I think it's important to give all those who are interested to be active member of this political process to open the doors. And I wish we can open a new page here in Norway after the failure of the Oslo process, which doesn't have anything to do with the country here. But it was important to experience the contribution of Norway on the level of the state. Now it's a turn to get the contribution from the Norwegian civil society to start the second Oslo process from the grassroots. Thank you very much.